Hey there folks, and welcome back for another video. In this video I want to talk to you about the care of your shaving products. It's probably the most common question that I get, and I want to run completely through it from razor to soap. Actually, let's start with soap. And one thing I want to mention in the very beginning here is blooming or soaking. I do not advise that you bloom or soak your soap in the container. That practice is to put some hot water in the top of your container to sort of warm it up. It makes it easier to lather. It gets the scent sort of flowing. I do not advise that you do this. Now, a couple of years ago, even I got caught up in the bloom fest and bloom craze, and then I only discovered recently that could have a bad effect on your soap. Last week, in fact, I was talking to the inspector on the phone, and I got one of my soaps and I noticed it had almost no scent. I was like, wow, this thing doesn't have any scent. It was one of the soaps I used to bloom all the time. Then later, I actually pulled the soap out, and at the bottom of that soap, it was black. Now, I'm not going to mention the soap maker because this was not the fault of the soap maker. This was my own fault. I used to put water in the container with the soap, and I didn't let it dry out completely. Even if you do let it dry out, there's a chance that water can get in underneath the soap. And from what a soap maker who I respect told me, if you reduce the pH beyond a certain level, then you can start having mold and things grow in that soap. So, again, that's the expertise from a soap maker, not me. Don't put water in your soap. Now, if your brush is damp and you're loading with a damp brush, that's fine. But don't get a lot of water in your soap container. If you want to bloom or soak your soap, here's what I recommend that you do. Got your soap here. Get yourself a cosmetic spatula or even your finger, whatever you want to do. I prefer one of these, a little more sanitary. Scoop out a little bit of soap like this. Get yourself a bowl and just put it in there. Spread it in the bottom of your bowl like that, and then you can soak that little bit with just a little bit of warm water. Give you the same effect. That's what I recommend. Take the soap out, put it in another container if you want to bloom it. That way, you're not going to ruin your soap. And I say this as someone who has ruined soaps, lost their scent, got too much water in there, not good. Now, today I use this soap, and this is sort of what it looks like. You're going to have a little lather residue and stuff like that in there. If you want to, you can scoop that out. Matter of fact, you can scoop it out with the same cosmetic spatula if you want. You can get rid of that. Then what I do is sometimes I'll turn my soap upside down like this and let it drain out in case I got too much water in it. Then I leave it set all day long with the cap off just to dry out. If you do that, you're going to be in good shape. I notice the soaps that I don't bloom still have their scent. I notice the soaps that I bloom, most of them lost their scent. Evidently, I created a bad situation with my soap from doing too much blooming. So don't do it. You can ruin your soap. I'm not saying it's always going to ruin your soap, but I know for a fact mine lost scent and I had something black growing in the bottom of one. So take my advice. Don't put excessive amounts of water in your soap container. Only bad things will happen. All right. So again, let it dry out after your shave. You should be okay. Don't get a lot of soap in there. Now again, you can wet your brush. Just don't have it dripping in the soap. And if it does, turn the soap over. Another thing that helps is if you load your soap this way with your brush, that water is naturally going to drip out. So you can do those things. You'll probably be all right with your soap. The next thing is, how do I take care of my equipment after the shave? And I just use this brush. So what I'll do is, and I'll cut the video for just a minute. I'm going to rinse this out thoroughly, and then I'll show what I do. Stand by. So we've rinsed this brush out thoroughly. I'll squeeze out the water. Don't pull down. Just squeeze it at the top. Squeeze the water out. I'll take a towel, clean towel, and just brush the ends. And you'll see there's some water I'm flinging. And then you'll see the brush looks like that. See how it looks nice and even? Now, one thing I want to tell you about synthetic brushes is if you press too hard, you can get like a bald spot in the middle. If you're pressing really hard and you're doing circles, you can ruin your brush. I mentioned that in my last video. That can happen with Badger. It can happen with synthetics. Horsehair is very prone to it. You don't need to press till this brush is completely splayed all the way to the handle. If you're getting anywhere close to the handle, you're pushing too hard. Don't do it. You're just going to ruin your brush. All right, now after I've, did my little thing there, it's looking great. I put it on the rack. Move that so you can see this. Like this. I just set it in there and I leave it out for the day. If it's a synthetic brush, it's going to dry in a couple hours and you can put it back wherever. But I do leave it setting out so it can dry and you're good to go. This is particularly important when you're dealing with natural hair, which takes far longer to dry. Make sure that dries out completely. Don't keep using it, getting it wet without giving it a chance to dry out. All right, the razor. You'll see I have soap residue on there. What I'll do is disassemble the razor. I do not recommend you leave your blade in your razor. I know that some people do, depending on your environment, water, like particularly if you're in a place where you tend to get a little salty water in the air, or it's not good. It's not good. So I disassemble the razor. I have my old trusty toothbrush, and what I'll do is let's wet this. I'll wet this down and I will just scrub it. Now, you don't want any abrasives on this. All right, this is just a clean toothbrush and I'm just using water. You can use something like Dawn dishwashing liquid if you want to put a little soap on there. It helps. I will just go around and scrub that down. Same thing for this. Try to get in those nooks and crannies. And if you do that, we'll do the same with the handle, just in the areas, then I'll rinse it. All right, so there we've rinsed it off. Then I'll just take a hand towel, sort of dry it off a little, and I'll set it up on my shelf in the same place my brush is to dry for the day. I keep my razor handle in a little, I'll show you. A little stand like this. Just drop it down in there so if any water get inside, it'll run out. No problem. There is a hole in the bottom of it for it to run out. Same thing with the top cap. Dry her off. I'll set it out and let it dry for the day, then I will reassemble it. If you do these things with your equipment, they should last a good long time. I can't emphasize enough, however, how important it is not to get too much water in your container. Dry that out, make sure it's dried out, and you should be okay. But water inside that soap is the enemy. Make no mistake about it. It can create problems. You adding water, I should say. Also with your brush, don't press down too hard. Those are my tips. Hope it works for you. It's surely served me well. And until next time, let's make America shave again.